and welcome to Ready Moveset Go episode 11. As always, I'm your host John, Room 100. Joining me as always, we have PK King 544.
Hello.
PizzaDudeManGuy.
Hey.
And NantenJex.
Hello.
Hello, welcome back everyone. We just keep on going.
This is episode 11 now,
Episode
right?
11.
That's right.
Yeah.
Quite a few, and we have a theme that has been kind of sitting around for a while that I think should be hopefully pretty exciting. We have, so depending on when this episode actually gets out, it will either come out right before or right after E3. So we were talking and kind of wanted to do a theme with a more general gaming concept and something that could look at the legacy of gaming as lots of things that E3 often do. So our theme for this week was retro characters or retro gaming. And we kind of had to set a specific area to define retro, because I think retro probably means different things for each of us. So I believe what we landed on was basically anything that was pre-2000s is, I think, pretty acceptable.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pre-millennium wound up being our threshold.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that is arguably anyone is okay with that being called retro at this point, I think.
At this point, yeah. I mean, some people are like, "Oh, that 2000 wasn't that long ago." It's 21 years ago now.
Born in 2000.
I mean,
calm down.
a good standard I saw recently was with Game Center CX, where they're only just now allowing Game Boy Advance, GameCube, and PS2 games on there because it's been 20 years since those systems launched. So, like, if Game Center considers them retro, if the 20 years is the gap they're willing, then
There we go.
We should do the same.
That's absolutely fair. So the order for today is going to be kind of the same order that we were introduced in. So myself, PK, Pizza, and Nanten. Everyone ready to go?
More or less.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. So I asked to go first just because we all say this, or at least someone says it every week, but I had a surprising amount of trouble with this theme. I was like, oh, retro characters. It's, how, like, decades of gaming.
There's so many of them.
and yet.
Yeah.
So I had like a bunch of considerations, but at the end of the day, I only had one character that I was really able to fill out that I had some kind of personal connection with, and that I thought would be simple enough, but also complex enough to be a good moveset. So the game and kind of the character that I went with is Dig Dug.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
And technically, I learned in my research, his name is Taizo. I did not realize he had a name.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, he has a whole
Taizo,
family.
yeah.
Taizo.
Taizo Hattori? Is that his last
something
name?
like that.
It's four letters, something within. I think it's Taizo Hori. Yeah.
Hori. Taizo Hori.
Taizo Hori.
Yeah. But yeah, when we first talked about this, Dig Dug was one of the first games that really popped into my head. I played it a little bit as a kid. I hadn't played any of the sequels or like anything like that, but it's always left a really strong impression on me. And then with Pac-Man 99 coming out, and that had a Dig Dug theme, it was just kind of fresh in my mind. So that is where I went. So the design, there's been a couple different interpretations over the years. I definitely would want a shorter kind of like Mario Mega Man type of design. Mega Man's probably the closest analog to Dig Dug that we have right now in Smash, or at least how I think Dig Dug would feel, and probably wouldn't have really too much, like unlike some of those smaller characters, wouldn't have a great jump, just because Dig Dug is inherently someone who is underground. They don't really have to do a lot of jumping. So I think that just land speed and power would be more of Taizo's forte. So for the moveset, I tried to combine aspects of the main things that are in basically all the Dig Dug games, and then references to a couple of the more important elements of the other ones. So basically all of the standard attacks on the ground and in the air are going to use the drill. So with the jab, you could get a rapid jab just kind of drilling in place. You could, I think, move with it very similar to like Steve or Mega Man. I feel like that would make sense since you're kind of always on the move in Dig Dug, while other moves are more just kind of swipes with the drill, drilling the ground to trip people, things like that. The grab would be the first instance of the harpoon, but that wouldn't be kind of the main iconic use. It would just be used as a tether grab. Do really weak pumps for the jab and then just throw people away. Going into the smash attacks, F smash would be the falling rock. The way that would work basically is in practice it would be kind of like Bayonetta's down smash, I guess, where basically as you're charging the move you see the rock floating there in front of you, and then when you release it the rock slams to the ground, like when you clear space for it in Dig Dug. And anyone who's under it, that's like a huge kill move. That's probably your strongest move. For up smash, I used the ray gun from Dig Dug Arrangement, which is a weapon that you can get in the boss fights, and pretty much just functions as a normal projectile. So in this, you would aim the ray gun straight up and fire. It would be kind of like Mega Man side B or forward smash, but it would go straight up and do a decent bit of damage. And then for down smash, I called it ground demolition. Basically, this is pulled from Dig Dug 2, which I've never played, but looks really interesting. So this is, I think, one of the only games that, excluding Overworlds and things like that, doesn't take place in a 2D environment, like on basically in the usual 2D underground environment. You are above ground, and there are lines all along an island. And you basically choose which of these lines to detonate to sink certain parts of the island. And the goal is, I guess, to sink all of the enemies in like a certain section as quickly as you can. So the way I transferred that over is he'll kind of push like a TNT thing on the ground, or like charge it and then push. And then 2 lines of explosions will go out from him. It'll act as a multi-hit. So if somebody is directly next to you, you'll get carried out along the line by the smaller sparks and then get hit by the really big explosion at the end. So then for the specials, neutral B is harpoon. So this is where it's more typical use in Dig Dug comes into play. It would have about the same range as your grab. You would throw it out, and it would, I guess, in a way be a command grab because they are stuck, but they can mash out. So you would shoot out your harpoon, and if it strikes an enemy, you can inflate them. They won't, I don't think they'll visibly inflate because that's a lot of work and kind of weird.
You're calling upon some things there.
I don't know, that might be kind of cool.
No, I'm alright.
I mean, certain characters, you know, Kirby and Jigglypuff, that's fine. But maybe not others. So
why not?
Well, I'm just talking purely from an animation standpoint. I don't want I don't want the team to animate like 3 different levels of inflation for every character on the roster.
Leave that up to the people online. To deal with.
So basically, instead of that, you would still be able to tap the button while they are hit by the harpoon 3 times, and if you get the full 3 pumps off, they'll be hit with a really big kind of just like pop of damage. But if you don't get those full 3 pumps, I think they would just kind of take the initial impact damage and the damage from the pumps, but they wouldn't really get that huge knockback. Side B, I called Ghost, but basically how it works is you will kind of wave your hand and shoot out the floating eyes, which is how the enemies will move around either just before or after you kill them, basically. And they'll fly around. If you get hit by it, it does weak damage and just disappears. But if it's able to make contact with a platform or the stage, then it will spawn one of the 2 most basic, most iconic enemies. So in practice, it's kind of like DDD's old side B. So you'll either spawn a Puka, which will just wander around. That's the normal red one with the goggles. And that will just kind of jump attack people, just weak damage, not too much knockback, but just kind of be a disruption. Or we'll spawn a Figar, which is the green lizard that will walk around and do fire damage. And I think if you get hit by that enough, you'll suffer the kind of like burning status. But both of these enemies can be killed fairly easily, just like you could with the Waddle Dees. Up B I called Tunnel. It kind of works. It's a cross between something like Pikachu's, but a little bit slower. Like Pikachu's with the, I guess Greninja and Pikachu is kind of the mix I'm visualizing. So you would have your drill in front of you, and you would just start drilling very quickly and be able to drill in whatever direction you want, and you can make a maximum of 2 turns. While you're doing that, you're kind of being surrounded by these rocks that are just like spawning from the tip of the drill where you're drilling forward. So the strongest point of attack would be the drill, but there's also these rocks that are causing a little bit of disruption. So it's a fairly safe recovery. And that was, of course, just I wanted to somehow visually represent what it mostly looks like to play Dig Dug. And then down B is an explosion robot, which is also from Dig Dug arrangement. And that is kind of like a Mecha Koopa, but it's much slower. It's still wandering the stage, but it's really slow. It will explode after a little bit of not being interacted with. But if it is hit, or if you pump it up, then it will cause a really big explosion. If someone else hits it, the explosion will hurt you, but if you're the one who pumps it, and this also applies to the side B with the Puka and the Figar, if you go up and you explode these enemies, then they'll just cause a huge explosion that does not impact you, and it causes really huge damage and knockback to whoever's around. And then the final smash I called Lower the Stakes, which is a reference to Dig Dug Digging Strike. And the kind of point of that game, or one of the key mechanics, is that you're clearing the way under the ground for these huge stakes to go into the ground. So when you activate your final smash, these giant huge stakes are just going to start coming down and just tunneling through the stage, and it'll kind of function like I guess the Ice Climber's final smash, where you can get hit by the main part of it, and that's where the real kill power is. But if you just kind of hit it while it's going down, it'll deal a decent bit of damage and knockback, but just kind of like throw you around. And it's more about making it really hectic because all of these stakes are coming down, hitting you one into another, and that's how you kind of get kills with the move.
Okay.
So that is my moveset for Taizo. And I just Bandai Namco has just for some reason not gotten a newcomer in a very long time.
Yeah.
So I would actually very much like to see him.
Yeah, Taizo would be a fun choice, I think, for another Namco rep. It's another arcade Namco rep, a classic one, but that's obviously a big part of Namco's history. So I think it works. I feel like if they did Taizo, they would also probably pull from Mr. Driller.
Oh, yeah.
For moves, because that's sort of like the spiritual spin-off. Not spiritual successor. It's a spin-off to Dig Dug. Mm-hmm. I think that's where Taizo gets its name from. I think it's from the Mr. Driller series.
Right. Yes.
But yeah, no, it was a good move. It's a good move set. Obviously the getting around the inflation part of it, seeing as that's his main attack. I didn't realize how many other things the Taizo could do. I have seen Dig Dug 2, and it is definitely a departure from the first one.
Yeah, definitely.
But I didn't know anything else.
So that was the hardest part, trying to fill it out, but there was like just enough that it worked. Yeah, because Dig Dug 2, that's pretty much the whole game, in the same way that the main game of Dig Dug is what the first one is. But Arrangement has like a bunch of new enemies, but a lot of them come from Cosmic Jewel or something like that.
Okay.
Like a lot of the enemies come from that game, so I didn't want to include them. I wanted to make sure it's stuff that was original to Dig Dug. But then it has stuff like that, and it has boss fights, which is where the ray gun comes in. So they added a bunch of stuff to that. And it has like multiplayer, so that had actually a decent bit to pull from. But yeah, Dig Dug 2 is the main one that is really different from the 2D drilling. But yeah, I really don't know why Namco just doesn't have that much in Smash. Like,
Right, yeah.
It's very
Yeah.
odd. They put Pac-Man in and they gave him the taunt with all the Namco stuff, and they're like, and done. Just brush their hands.
Yep, they're all in.
Yes, so everything Namco's there.
Yeah, actually, I really like Taizo as a choice, and yeah, I like how the moveset is just like kind of everything with Dig Dug. For the inflation, I mean, what if they just did an effect where like the character just, you know, they just scale up the character a little bit, like not like super mushroom size, but just like, you know, little inflations without a special animation.
That could work. I was also just thinking maybe they could have the character models kind of like float a tiny bit.
Yeah.
That could be good too.
Yeah, they're just. I would do it where they're just sort of stuck in their damage pose and they just like flash.
Well, yeah, I think
for
yeah,
each,
so it'd be something like,
inflation.
you know, like the berry animation in Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like not. Yeah, I suppose you could bury them. I suppose there's a way to keep them in place.
As long as it gets the point across.
Oh yeah, I don't know why. I have like the down tilt would trip them. I feel like I should definitely put a move in here where he actually buries somebody, considering he's always on the ground. I don't know what. I don't know. I'll figure it out later. But
Down throw or something.
oh yeah, down throw is probably a good one for that. That's a usual bury kind of move.
I totally forgot about throws. Anyway. Yeah.
Well, well, now that's fresh on your mind, PK. Go.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead with yours.
Okay. Where do I even start with this? So okay. So my pick is Paperboy.
Oh.
Because I don't really have a because, if I'm being honest.
No, that was my secondary. That was the first thing. As usual, asking my girlfriend, "Hey, what if I say retro video game? What do you think?" She said Paperboy. So
okay, here's the rundown. Because first of all, okay, well, I'm not going to talk about my other ideas yet, but this was definitely not my first idea. I had a couple other ideas, and then I was just looking stuff up, trying to like refresh my memory, and I saw Paperboy, and I'm like, okay, I remember downloading some like version of this on my phone like when I was younger. Like, let me look at this. So I look at the older version because it's like what, 84? Like, I don't know anything about that. So I was like watching videos and blah 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 blah, and I'm like, wow, this game looks really difficult and really funny. So I went with it. And obviously he's on a bike the whole time, and I thought that's hilarious. So he's just on a bike the entire time, because, you know, I feel like that's a unique sort of just physical position to be in, and I think that alone can make for interesting moves. Like, obviously, like first tilt he might just swing the paper like up and down, but other moves like his dash attack, he can like skirt his bike and hit you with it, or like pop wheelies and stuff like that. I don't really know. I didn't write down every single little move, but yeah, he could do stuff with his bike. He can swing his paper around for the general boring moves.
Yeah, might need to add some BMX elements in there for like the aerials.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, make it more visually stylish.
Yeah, because I think that's a really good opportunity that is like in no way touched in Smash yet. And then I'm like, okay, well, what else does he do in the game? He throws paper. So I'm like, okay, neutral B, throw paper. You could probably like hold it to like kind of generate strength, but it's like most neutral Bs, it's just a projectile. It's a decent projectile. And in game you can only have 10 at a time, so I was also thinking maybe after you throw 10 there's like a little bit of lag, so you can't throw anymore for like a couple seconds and it has to recharge in whatever sort of way, not like dying or something, because that's excessive, but you know, just have to wait a little bit. And then I'm like, okay, what else does he do besides ride bike and throw paper? Well, the only thing you do is avoid things and different obstacles. So I'm like, okay, how can I incorporate that? So I incorporated some of them into his smash attacks. Like his down smash, the break dancer dude like appears out of nowhere and starts like dancing around him. So like the damage is the dancer dancing and him also like dodging and avoiding with his bike. So it's like a little multi-hit down smash. And then the side smash is like a car, or not a car, but those people that are like riding on those things, like those bikes where they're laying down. I don't know what it's called. They like appear from like from the background like to the foreground, and he kind of dodges out of the way, and that's the hurtbox on that. And then the up smash, the entire Grim Reaper just pops up and like does like a slash over his head as he ducks over, and the slash is the hitbox. Because I thought the idea of like him avoiding the obstacles would be cool attacks, that they're actually like just the obstacle. But then there are other obstacles that I was like, I don't know how that could work at all. So I decided to throw those all into down B, and down B is just obstacle, where when you press it, either a random, but I know that's controversial, so there could be like a thing at the bottom that shows what the next one is, or it could be a cycle, but an obstacle appears, and they all have the same general idea of moving forward, but just in slightly different ways. Like the tire just slowly moves forward, that's just all it does. But then there's like a dog that kind of like jumps forward and like hops instead of just like walking forward. And there's that like statue thing, I think is what it is, where like it'll stay still for a bit and then it'll just dash forward super fast. And there's like the lawnmower, where the second it goes down, it's running really super duper fast and just keeps going. And they just like all just run fast off stage and then they're just gone. But I also think it'd be fun if these could also hit you too. So you also have to avoid these like you would in the game. And you just kind of, it's almost like spawning items, but you can't pick them up or anything. And then the up B would, and I just didn't have an idea for the up B. So I thought, okay, there's literally a tornado in the game that can be his up B. His up B, the tornado catches him and flings him upwards. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, cool. And then the side B can reference the little bonus levels at the end, where he not only like bikes for, I was gonna say dashes, but he's on a bike. I guess it's still dashing. I don't know. He goes forward on his bike and like a little ramp pops up under him and he like goes a bit in the air to also help his recovery. But yeah, that is mainly the bike dude. His final smash, he to initiate it, he throws a paper at you, and if it hits, it goes into a little cutscene where you're in a house, and that paper that he threw at you like came through a window and like hit you in the head, and then he throws more and more and more until the house fills up and like explodes or something. And then you die. And then like when the house comes back, it like turns white.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. And yeah, that was my main idea. I mean, I don't know how he's gonna grab you on a bike. I mean, maybe that could be the dog, like the dog comes out and bites you or something like that. And the obstacle stuff, like you can add more, there are a bunch more obstacles. I just didn't want them to be too different from each other. Because you're already giving a move that like, oh, the move that's actually 10 different moves is already, I mean, obviously it's been done, obviously, but I don't want to do that too much.
Mm-hmm. Your grab could be like planting his front wheel on the person's foot or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah, that is Sir Paperboy.
That's fun.
Whenever I think of a biking moveset, I always think of Excite Bike Rider.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
and,
true.
like his possibilities. Like I think for like a recovery on that, because Sakurai commented on Excite Bike once. I think for a commentary on that, it was having like a ramp spawn basically. And then he rides, and then like a ramp just appears and the biker just goes off of it.
Yeah.
So that could be a recovery if you're going to incorporate BMX stuff.
Yeah.
Just like something appears that he rides his bike up.
Yeah.
And off.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, you could switch the side B and the up B in that case maybe. But yeah, I had a couple thoughts just because this was one of the initial games that popped into my head too. I was thinking about stuff that I would play on like one of those old like GameCube collections basically.
Yeah.
And so it was like Dig Dug and this and some other stuff, but I wound up not being able to do it for Paperboy. So one concept I like is the idea that the obstacles are a core part of the moveset and how he's actually working. It reminds me of when I did the Fall Guys moveset.
Yeah.
And I do really like that concept of like taking the idea of something like Isabelle further, where she's doing non-violent things, but it's still doing the fighting for her. Mm-hmm. This is instead like you are dodging stuff and it's still doing the damage, which I really like. And I don't think it needs to be limited ammo, but I guess it could. A thought that I had is maybe to encourage, like if you did have limited newspapers, you could have some kind of mechanic where like you throw the newspapers and as they deal damage, you get like a meter fills up or something like that, or maybe it's just progressive. And the more newspapers you're able to successfully deliver at a certain threshold, you'll get like a buff.
The
Oh,
more
okay.
subscriptions you sell to the other fighters.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You start missing them too much, it starts hurting you.
Yeah, because then like if it is limited, then it makes you really be like a little more precious and a little more accurate with it. But then I guess if it disappears, that it just kind of like you can't use your neutral special anymore, which kind of sucks. So I don't know about
Yeah.
that. Yeah, no, that's a really good one. I actually think a bike is a little bit easier than a lot of other mounted concepts, just because it is
True, yeah.
a little bit lighter. The person is a lot more present. It's definitely not like a car or something, but it's like lighter than a motorcycle. You don't have all the ethical implications of a horse,
Yeah. Oh god.
but I think that could actually be very different and interesting.
Yeah, actually, I really like the moveset. It's like you get the BMX stuff of other bike fighters, but then you also just get like whacking people with the paper, like they're a spider. I love it. It's like whack.
Yeah.
And then, oh man, I like a lot of having the obstacles, having the final smash, and just you crumble the house on them from breaking stuff. I think it's all really good. It's actually a character I've thought about quite a bit in the past because it's my dad's most wanted Smash character. So.
Aw. Oh yeah. That's probably around Father's Day, huh?
Yeah. Before it was Duck Hunt Dog, and Duck Hunt Dog got in. It's like, okay, Paperboy next.
Well then, I guess it's up to you now, Pizza. What's your
What's my retro character?
what's your retro choice then? Now that we got your dad's.
Okay, yeah. I mean, usually when I do retro characters, I think about retro characters. I do think of the old like NES icons, and I've done so many move sets for so many like, long lost NES icon movesets in Smash before. But since our rules this time were just anything pre-millennium, I decided this time, hey, here's a good excuse to do Marina Liteyears from Mischief Makers. So short. So here we go.
Technically, yeah, counts.
Yeah, we got here we go. We have a moveset for the main character from the hit 1997 Nintendo 64 classic by Enix and Treasure that everyone played and remembers really well.
Of course.
Oh, damn.
Mischief Makers was a scary game. I never liked the like NPCs who are like the gyroids.
Yeah, they're like gyroids, but they look upset all the time.
I want you to know I looked up pictures because I had no clue. So I looked up pictures, and maybe like 15 down is like 2 separate pictures of like accepting a Smash invitation or like a Smash splash.
Yeah, well, so I mean, because she was weird. She was kind of this early like Nintendo 64 character. It's like, oh, okay, you got your Mario and Zelda and Banjo-Kazooie, and then you had Mischief Makers, and everyone kind of ignored it because it wasn't a 3D platformer, and that's what everyone was into at the time. Everyone who plays, like if you look up reviews and stuff of the game, everyone says this game is great, but nobody played it.
Yeah, it is a bit of a like cult classic.
Yes, absolutely.
Mischief Makers.
Yeah, so I don't know. I've joked for a long time. It's like they need to add Marina to Smash. So I was like, okay, let's actually make a Marina for Smash moveset. Since a lot of people are probably going to be new to how Mischief Makers and Marina actually works, here's how Marina works in Mischief Makers. You move, you jump. You can boost in different directions to give yourself a little more jump height or a little more speed, and then your main method of attack is grabbing and throwing. You grab enemies and you throw them. That's pretty much it. You grab stuff from the ground, you grab weapons, and then you can like use those. Everything is based on grabbing and throwing. So basically the way that I've built her for her Smash moveset here is as a grappler character. But unlike other grappler characters, she's not a slow heavyweight. She's a medium balanced character, but is grappling based. So here's how the moveset works. Her basic moves are just fighting moves, punches and kicks and stuff like that. In the intro of the game, she does an uppercut. There's a secondary playable character named Terran who throws punches and kicks. So Marina references those with her basic moves. Of course, the big thing is, like Incineroar, she has powerful throws, which take the appearance of her actual, like, throws in the game. Like, her forward throw, she'll, like, backhand somebody and send them flying forward. She can toss people behind her, throw people upward. Her down is basically like a throwing, slamming pile driver. Also, of course, because this is a big icon of Mischief Makers, her pummel is shaking the opponent. And every time you press the A button to shake the opponent, she actually says, shake, shake. So if you just stand there pummeling the opponent, she goes, shake, 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 shake. Which, that is a big part of Mischief Makers. And so, in addition to her throws, her pummel is also, like, stronger than most other characters. So there's all that. Now, while her throws are very powerful, her other, like, main attacks and her, like, aerial attacks are not particularly strong. They're not, like, super weak. They're not, like, Little Mac weak, but they're not very strong either. You're mostly going to be relying on throws to get your kills. However, her forward aerial and her back aerial have special properties. They are based on the animations of her boosts, and so when you use them, she actually will propel forward and backward a little bit in the air. It's not a big boost, and the attack itself is very, very weak. But yes, you can spam forward aerial or back aerial to do like a makeshift glide. You'll rapidly fall downward while you're doing it, but you can get some good horizontal distance and set yourself up with an up special or a double jump or whatever. The other special property I have for her is just more than any other character, just like, oh, Yoshi's got a stronger shield or this or that. Marina has enhanced item throwing. When she throws a throwable Smash Brothers item, it just goes further. It goes in a straighter line before arcing downward.
Dang.
So she's just better at throwing things than anybody else. Her neutral special is called Grapple, based off of her throwing ability in Mischief Makers. So in addition to having a regular grab and 4 throws, she also just has a grab special move, which has several unique properties. First, when used on an opponent, you get Donkey Kong's cargo carry. So basically, she has 5 throws. She has the 4 from her regular throw, and then she additionally gets Donkey Kong's forward throw as a special move. So then you can just start walking and jumping around with opponents and then throw them in any direction, which is mostly how Mischief Makers works. You pick up an enemy and you walk around and you throw them at stuff. The thing that makes it special, however, is that you can activate it in the air. So you and your opponent, you're fighting in the air, and then you just grab them, and then now you're both falling. Now, they can break out of it, just like any other grapple, but basically she gets 5 throws. There's 2 other things that you can do with the grapple ability. The grapple ability can also be used, or just by pressing neutral special, can also be used to grab any projectile. It's kind of like Villager's Pocket. You just grab the projectile. You don't store it. It's just you're holding it now. On energy projectiles, Mario throws a fireball. Man, you are now holding a fireball as if it were a physical object in your hands. Fox shoots a laser. Man, now you're holding a laser like a physical object. And then you can just throw it like an item. And you get to throw it really far because you're Marina, and that's one of your special abilities. Just like when you're holding an item or grabbing an opponent, you cannot use your neutral special when you're already holding something, right? If you're holding an item, you cannot use your neutral special. Instead, if you press B while you are holding an item, once again copying Mischief Makers, Marina has a special animation where she will just set down the item at her feet. So she gets another option with items that way. You know, it's not like the standard Smash Brothers, oh, I'm going to carelessly toss this item behind me. She'll actually set it down at her feet. So you can put it down and save it for later, or like if you have a Pokeball, you can just actually let the Pokemon down without accidentally chucking them off the cliff. So that's her neutral special.
How would that work for like a Samus shard shot?
Yeah,
like
I was thinking that, or like a
stuff?
Fox's laser.
Oh, she just grabs it.
No, but for
Like if she places it down.
Oh, and then sets it down?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She just sets it down on the floor there, and then it's just sitting there. Anyone can pick it up then.
So it just becomes an item, basically.
Wouldn't that be great?
At that point, if you just like walk into it, it would probably just do the damage.
Yeah.
To you,
Yeah,
right?
that's what I'm thinking.
Oh, yeah, you make traps. Man, now Marina's a trapper, too.
Oh my god. I mean, the second you said like female grappler with high mobility, I was already like sold. Like you could have stopped there. I love this already.
All right, Marina's side special is called Boost Slide, which I'm combining just 2 of the names of her abilities boost, and slide. So it's boost, slide.
Whoa.
And it's basically just, it's a very basic forward projecting move. You know, it won't fall down. It aids in recovery. You go straight across in a bigger boost than her regular forward aerial or back aerial. Just similar to how it works in Mischief Makers when you use the slide attack. It doesn't actually do like knockback. Instead, it kind of combo strikes opponents and you carry them with you. So it's a good closer, but also a good lead in to a grapple. You can like boost slide up to somebody, hit them a little bit with it, and then press B immediately afterward to grab them. It's a way for you to get in some mobility before you get your grapple. The up special is called Clan Ball. Clan balls are basically platforms from Mischief Makers that you use to get around. But of course, they're not platforms that you land on and jump on. No, they're platforms you have to grab onto. Because that's how everything in Mischief Makers works. You have to grab everything. So for this up special, basically, Marina, just wherever she is, grabs a floating ball with a creepy face on it. Because everything in Mischief Makers also has a creepy face. So you grab a ball with a creepy face on it, and Marina is just suspended in the air like that for a second, and then the ball will disappear and she'll fall. Now, during that time that you are grappled onto the ball, if you press B or A, any button, she will jump off of it. She'll like slam it and then jump off of it, and it basically has the height of a third jump. It is a non-damaging third jump. You can combine the B or A press with a direction, and you'll go in that direction. But otherwise, not a very special recovery. Except, while you're holding the clan ball, if instead of pressing B or A, if you press a direction first, Marina will pull the clan ball into the direction that you press, and she'll like squeeze it, and then you'll slingshot yourself into the opposite direction. It is a much higher recovery that way, not like hugely, but it's a better recovery that way, but it's a little bit tricky to use, because if you accidentally press it like a direction first, you might slingshot the way that you didn't want to go if you were just trying to do the regular B or A jump off the ball. This is a reference to how frustratingly difficult the platforming in Mischief Makers is. And then down special, once again, another important element of Mischief Makers is the clan bomb. Marina can grapple in any direction. Including down. When Marina grapples downward, she digs up items. Most notably, which you need for solving puzzles, the clan bomb, which is a bomb with a scary face on it. So it's a big bomb. So essentially, it's like Link's bomb in terms of how it works Smash-wise here, but with a couple special properties. For one, it has a bigger explosion range than Link's bombs, but the drawback to that is that she can only use it on the ground. If you try to use her down special in the air, you will not get a bomb because you cannot dig there. You have to use it on the ground. So that's kind of your trade-off. The other upside, though, is because of Marina's own special ability, she can throw that bomb really far. So she gets her own special move here with the down special, the clan bomb, to give herself a projectile that she can throw very, very far. And then her final smash is the legendary Blockman. Marina teams up with her friend Terran, who becomes Blockman, a large Lego-like creature made up of lots of creepy block faces put together. And then, kind of like Ganon's final smash, the Blockman stampedes across the stage. A little slower than Ganon, but you can use the directional inputs on your joystick to change the pattern with which you're stampeding across the stage. Forward is a regular stampede. If you press up on the joystick, Blockman will start waving his hands upward, and if you press down, Blockman will start like spreading his legs further on the ground as he stampedes forward.
Nice.
And that's it. That's Marina Liteyears.
Yeah. No, that's great. Honestly, when you initially said like, oh, she throws items fast, I'm like, okay, she'll be good in casual. That'd be a good Alfred video, but like, okay, I just did not understand it. But I'm happy that came into play like pretty well, even on the more competitive side. That was good.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, she can catch other people's projectiles and throw them far, and then she can make her own bombs and throw them far.
I think having a character focused around throwing is a fun idea, and like,
oh yeah,
like 'cause Smash doesn't really have that. Like, I can't think of a character in the roster that's like very like core focus is on throwing stuff.
Yeah.
I think they tried to do it with Incineroar, at least with throwing people, but
his is more like
it doesn't go far
grappling,
enough.
yeah.
It doesn't go far enough.
at all.
Yeah, it's not really throw. It's more like the command grab character.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which I guess Marina also is. Like I always just think of Wario Land Shake It whenever I think of that game, because it is literally shake everything.
Yeah.
So having that in there is essential.
Oh, absolutely.
She would be the bane of my existence, because command grabs just get me every time.
Trust me, as a Lucas main, I was not happy hearing that grab anything.
Oh yeah, you try to use PK Thunder, then she just jumps off, grabs you, and throws you
Oh,
out of here.
but I do really like. I've really liked the concept of the forward and back airs being able to dash you a little bit, because like just conceptually that's something I really like for a Smash character, and I'd be curious to see how it would actually like play out. But I it's just like a very like clean movement option that I feel like a ton of characters could work with potentially, that I would really like to see.
Yeah.
I really like the concept. I like would not have guessed the character.
Yeah.
But I think she could definitely be extremely unique, just both it being just an absolute menace in the air, and then with all the grabs and throws would, I think, be just super different.
Yeah, honestly, this is one of my most like favorite ones that we've done, like in general. I like this a lot. Like, this is good.
Well, now you have to follow up PK's favorite Nanten. So
Okay,
what do you
Like,
got?
Fighting the
so-
losing battle.
Yeah, it's prestigious. Yeah.
Yeah, you all have to go. You all have to go and play Mischief Makers now.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys got to know. You know,
Guess
you've
so.
heard of it now. It's been
Yeah.
pitched to you. Alternatively, you can go play the game that I am going to be talking about, because it's a game that I've just had on my mind for like a few weeks now. And I even made a video on it, which is Marvelous, Another Treasure Island.
Yes.
Which is the
I was hoping. All right.
the Nintendo cult classic, I guess. Maybe
guess.
it's a really early like adventure game done in a very similar style to Link to the Past, and it stars three main characters who all have a spirit in Smash Brothers. Called Dion, Max, and Jack, who are like three kids on a summer camp. Dion's the small one, and Max is the big boy, and Jack is the tall, like lanky one. And together, the three of them have to sort of work together throughout the game, using their individual abilities to clear all of the puzzles and defeat bosses and pick up all these MacGuffins they need for their adventure. So I wanted to think of a way of having these three in Smash Brothers, and at first I was going to try and do something that is absolutely unfeasible in Super Smash Brothers, which is having all three of them sort of at the same time, Ice Climber style. But it wasn't panning out when I was planning things out, unfortunately. So instead, I've gone for something a bit more like Pokemon Trainer, where you've got three characters who all have their own sort of standalone moves, and then you swap between which one is the player character. So like with Pokemon Trainer standing in the back, the two boys who you aren't playing as will stand in the back. And if it will allow it, it would be fun if they ran along the background as well, like following wherever the one that you're controlling is, so that when they do their down special, which is swapping, they can just like jump into the background and jump into the foreground. I don't know how that would quite work if they're in the air. It may just has to be a thing where they like warp in and out. In the games, you use like a telephone or a walkie-talkie to call the other kid to swap to them. And then the way the game shows it is the hat they're wearing, which is called the leader hat, sort of flies off into the sky and then lands on whichever the next kid is that you're controlling.
Oh, cool.
And that's what will also happen in the game. So when the kids would swap places, the hat would remain, and the hat shows you which one you're playing as.
Okay.
But yeah, so there's three of them. So essentially, I'm making three movesets here now. the default one, Dion is his name. He's the small one. He is much faster than the others, but he is weaker to make up for it. However, he's also the one who has the projectile attacks. So a lot of Dion's standards are sort of dash themed. He has the dash shoes, which kind of act like the Pegasus boots from A Link to the Past. So he has like a strong charge attack, a strong dash attack, sorry, and I feel like you have to pull a few things from Villager and Isabel, which you'll see in some of their other moves. But having stuff like a slingshot for an aerial could work quite well for Dion. It sort of fits very nicely into the game and the character. And various other things like a shovel for smash attack. Even though there wasn't a shovel in Marvelous, but there was one planned. It's like a cut item. And I was like, yeah, but it fits. So they can do that.
Yeah.
The other thing that Dion does have, though, is a giant hammer.
Ooh.
Which he uses for puzzles, which acts like the hammer from A Link to the Past, where you use it to whack stuff. So that would work very well as like a smash attacks, where Dion just pulls out this comically large hammer and just slams forward with it. And because he's like probably like Pichu's height, like he's pretty small, it would also look extra like cartoony and funny. So Dion's all about speed and has this, but his specials. His three main specials are all around. Well, the recovery is the same for all of them, so I may as well cover it now. The up special, they have this bird friend called Pilak, who's this little yellow bird who usually gives you hints throughout the game, and it was the best thing I could think of for recovery. It kind of acts like the Olimar's one, with the winged Pikmin. But just like with Olimar's one, depending on how many Pikmin Olimar has, the winged Pikmin obviously struggle. And it's the same thing here. If you're using Dion, then you've got great recovery. It's super easy. If you've got Jack, it's standard. But if you've got Max, the big guy, Pilax kind of struggles a bit to lift him up through the sky. So depending on which of the trio you're using will affect how well your recovery works. But functionally, it's the same for all three of them. So it's just the standard special and the side special that's different. And for Dion, being the projectile-based guy, his standard special is the mitten ball, which is like a baseball. He throws a baseball ball forward, and it's a generally standard projectile. The more you hold it down, the longer his pitch will be, so the ball will go further. And sometimes you might accidentally throw what's known as a luck rock, which is a collectible in the game. And the luck rock will do more damage and potentially have a random effect. Like there's to really emphasize the luck part of it. There's like a random chance it could crit or cause a meteor effect or something if you hit someone with it. So I wanted to throw this sort of random element into the moveset to sort of vary it up and add some excitement to what is otherwise just throwing a baseball.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
And as for his side special, he has a cannon called the Buster Cannon.
Whoa!
It's just the last thing Dion gets, which is just like pretty much like it's not a charge attack. It's a bit more like the missile Samus uses, but he'll take a sort of a stance similar to what Snake's side special is and fire from the Buster Cannon, and it's like a stronger projectile, but not one that you control like Snake's. So those are Dion's the projectile guy. Moving on to Max, who's the heavyweight character. His whole thing in the game is his strength. Like he gets boxing gloves at one point, so I thought that would work really well for the smash attacks. Kind of like how you got King K. Rool's boxing gloves and the villagers' boxing gloves.
Yeah.
Max kind of has the same thing, big punches and stuff for all of his standards. But for his side special, it's kind of like Wii Fit Trainer's side special. So Max is really good at football in the game, or soccer, as they call it, as you all call it. I suppose I'm the only one who calls it football. So for his soccer, a ball will spawn in front, and he'll like boot it, and the ball functions the exact same way as the football item does, except it doesn't burst into flames like that one does. It's like Wii Fit Trainer, whereas Wii Fit Trainer will obviously hit her ball downwards. It sort of like it spikes in a diagonal down direction. Max's ball will go more diagonally upwards, like he's booting it straight forward. And then his standard special is actually called Mr. Diggy, which is a digger, which I guess would function very similar to what Taizo does for his. So Max pulls out this digging machine and just sort of like digs in front of players and can bury them and or do damage to them if they get hit by the tip of the digger. Like if he does it in the air, like the tip part sort of does more damage. So Max's thing is all around strength. He's the one who will do all of the big smash attacks. And then Jack is a bit more gimmicky. So Jack in the game is the smart kid. He's the one who builds stuff And because of that, I wanted his moveset to be a bit more trappy, let's say, a bit more like Isabelle and snakes and stuff. So with that in mind, one of the things Jack has since the start of the game is he is good at fishing, and therefore I decided that he'll also have Isabelle's side special, the fishing rod, as part of his moveset. So that will be his side special, and then his standard special is called the salty spray. And just to really add to the salt, he'll spray this big cloud of like salty air in front of him that acts, I guess, similar to Piranha Plant's side special, where it will damage people who are in it. It's not purple like his, it's more like a... I didn't actually think of the colour. I should have probably done that. More like a grey or a light blue, I'm thinking. But it will damage opponents if it hits. And then a lot of his attacks, because Jack is very good at jumping, so he'll have the best jump height in the game of the three of them even. And he'll have really good aerials. And then for his smash attacks, Jack also has a remote control, which controls robots in the game, like these big robots that can move boxes and stuff. So I was thinking for his smash attacks, he'll summon a robot similar to how Zelda summons her Phantom. For the smash attacks, like he'll like sort of crouch down and pull out a remote control, and this big robot will spawn and like slam down or punch forward or whatever is required for that smash attack. And so from the three of them together, you've got a character who's really fast and projectile focused, a really heavyweight character who's like physically strong, like King K. Rool or Donkey Kong, and then a much more trappy character like Snake and Isabelle that's a bit more about stage control. And I think having that variation makes them stand out from, like, say, Squirtle, Ivysaur, and Charizard.
Yeah.
Who are much more on the fast and weak, strong and heavy middle thing.
Yeah.
Like, there's more variation to them and more reasons why you'd swap between them rather than the standard beat them up while they're Squirtle and Ivysaur and finish them off while they're Charizard maneuver that every Pokemon trainer uses. And then, like Pokemon Trainer, their final smash would also be a combined attack. Teamwork's a big part of that game. And originally I wanted to put that into like their specials, but I was really struggling coming up with how that would really work. So what they do for their final smash attack is that all three boys will jump into the foreground and basically like lift up like this big pot of water and basically just throw it forward, and if it hits anybody, it would go into like a cutscene where the three boys essentially work together, like they all sort of throw stuff and then they climb up onto, with Max at the bottom, Jack climbs up onto his shoulders, Dion climbs up onto Jack's shoulders, gets the Buster Cannon out and just like fires a massive blast down towards the ground. And then as it pans out from the explosion, the three of them are all doing their like cheering animation whenever they do a teamwork, whenever they solve a teamwork puzzle in Marvelous. And yeah, that's it. It's a three-way character like Pokemon Trainer, each with their own sort of different reasons that aren't just strength focused to pick between them. And yeah, it's an obscure retro character. So it fits my MO.
Yeah, it's also like, from what I'm like seeing, just looking it up now, it's also like more like a puzzle game, right?
Yeah, it's like a point and click adventure game. So you have like the traveling sections which play like A Link to the Past does, but then when you want to investigate something, it goes into like a point and click. So you press on the stuff in the environment and you solve puzzles. There are actually like very little enemies in that game, and Jack, technically, Dion, the first attack you get is the Dion's baseball, which you don't get until like halfway through the game. And Jack never actually gets a way to attack a people in that game. So there are very few enemies.
I like that though. It's cool.
But it fits the tone.
Yeah.
That's good rap. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to think of if there's some way. For one, I was gonna make a joke earlier saying that the bird that gives you tips, since that's the up B, the tip is don't die.
It's like, don't go off the edge.
Yeah. But I was trying to think of how, if there was a way to incorporate that teamwork element, even while still keeping things exactly like you have them with the switching out. I was thinking maybe there could be some kind of way, since they're already on the stage and running around to keep up with you, maybe there'd be a way where like if they catch up to you and they're standing there for like a couple seconds, so you're able to be there with them, maybe they could like either like shout something to you or give you something, and you would like receive a tiny little buff for like being with the other two or something like that.
Yeah, potentially there could be stuff like that. It could help with maybe smash attacks or certain other attacks they can support from behind, or maybe that is something where the luck rocks come into play as part of the game. Like maybe that's had like there could be a luck rock part of every one of their movesets, and Dion gets it if he's stands with the other two for long enough that they can give him one. Like they're running in the background looking for luck rocks, and they'll give it to whoever's playing.
Yeah,
and then you can use that. You just have to add it to the other two, but I mean, you could add. I'm sure there are ways to do that pretty easily. Like he kicks it instead of the football.
but yeah, no, it's really really interesting. I've definitely wanted another character kind of like Pokemon trainer where it's not. I mean, even like not just Pyra Mythra too, just like another character where you kind of have a bunch of people with different kind of properties. That I think you did that really well in making them different, but like wanting to use them for different circumstances like recovery and things like that. I will say to kind of talk about our other two, or not other two, our other considerations. I was a little surprised between Nanten and Pizza. I had no idea where PK was going to go.
You never do.
The wild card.
Yeah. I was surprised that Pizza, I think you've probably made it before and probably alluded to it. I'm a little surprised that you didn't go for Hayabusa.
Yeah.
Ninja Gaiden.
I guess I didn't think of him as I guess usually when I think of retro characters, I think of like a revival, and I don't know, Ninja Gaiden's something. It would be more of a modern revival rather than a classic revival.
Yeah, Ninja Gaiden's been around. I think when I was thinking of retro characters, I was trying to think of characters who literally don't really exist anymore. Beyond.
Yeah, that's where I went as well. But I was still just because of how important Ryu is with like the whole NES discussion.
Right. How spoken out I've been about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then for I guess it doesn't really count anymore. But for Nanten, I was thinking when you're saying you're like you put out a video and obsessed about it right now, I thought you were going to go with Ayumi Tachibana.
Yeah, I thought that might be possible.
I did consider Ayumi first. That was actually the very first one I considered. But just like Sakurai himself, I was like, how on earth am I going to make this into an actually interesting moveset? That would work for Ayumi. And I decided that Marvelous would be, probably give a more interesting moveset, because as much as I like Ayumi, there is very lot of smacking people with a briefcase and showing someone a driver's license. Like, what can you? There's not a massive amount of stuff you do in that game other than talk to people that would actually work in a fighting game sense.
Mm-hmm.
So Marvelous was just, I guess, more practical. I could have maybe tried to force something together for Ayumi, but I couldn't be bothered.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, just like with the Mobs one, I don't want to, there's, like I said, decades of games that we could potentially list and stuff. But my short list, besides what is like Paperboy as a consideration, I thought about Ninja Gaiden for a second. The other ones I was considering, along the same lines of Ninja Gaiden, I was considering Contra, kind of like big name retro series. Gauntlet was like another one that kind of came to mind. And then my third consideration, it was like Dig Dug, Paperboy, and Rampage, just because Rampage is like such a classic series, but I couldn't think of a way to make it not just like Donkey Kong and Bowser. But yeah, no, like I said earlier, I didn't have like a huge slew of selections for this one, honestly.
Yeah, I think as PK King, I have to bring this up. I did think of Nanten for a bit, but
yeah,
I was like, I don't know. I mean, like I feel like that he's already talked about enough, and like it would be still a bit derived from Lucas and Ness. I'm like, I don't think it'd be as interesting, but that definitely was an idea. And I also thought of Arthur from what's that game?
Ghosts and Goblins?
Yeah, Ghosts and Goblins, purely because that music is really good.
It's a very good theme.
Yeah, it's a very good theme. But he's also someone that's brought up a decent amount. He's in other fighting games, I think, too.
Yeah, he's in Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yeah, he's in Marvel vs. Capcom, yeah. I'm like, okay, well, ideas are definitely already like floating around there.
Yeah, I think I had Takamaru and Lip were really my only other two choices, and I only really had Takamaru because it was someone I could make on the fly in case someone else stole my other ideas, and the very unlikely chance because I've done so much on him already in the past, and I've made a moveset for him. And Lip is just a character I kind of want to see. Like, I want a puzzle rep, and Arl would be the preferred choice, but Lip is also like a top contender for that position for me. So Lip would have been a fun one to have, just focusing on panel de pawn and dropping garbage blocks on people and stuff.
How about Pizza? Did you have any? What were your kind of follow-ups to Marina?
None.
Yeah,
Taking it all
fair
on
enough.
Marina.
Yeah.
I might have considered Takamaru, but I would have been worried that Nanten would do that one.
That's fair.
Well, I think you put your bets in the right place that none of us would do Marina, so good call.
Yeah.
You know, if there's a retro character that we haven't mentioned that you would really like to see immortalized in Smash, be sure to let us know to start wrapping things up. To today, the day we're recording this is kind of my recording day, so there isn't going to be... May's going to wind up being a little empty, but hopefully June and moving forward, I'll start getting a bunch more stuff out. Might do some E3 streams, we'll see. But other than that, to get over to the other guys, PK, what are you up to?
Oh, hi. Yeah, May's been kind of quiet for me too, not gonna lie. Been working on a lot of rival stuff. There's like a character jam going on right now, and that's all I've really been doing because we only have a month to make a whole character. That's been pretty fun so far. So definitely in June, everything that's been recording this month is gonna come out then. So check me out if you like rivals and making characters and blah blah blah.
Pizza?
I'm PizzaDudeManGuy.
Yep.
Thank you. Nanten?
You know, unlike you guys, May has been a very, very busy month for me, and will continue to be as I try and get all of my backlog of stuff done for Source Gaming before E3 hits and it all becomes outdated or instantly. But the main thing I've obviously been doing is I launched a brand new channel.
Yeah.
The Nintendo Chronicler, which has a video on Marvelous, and should hopefully have another video on there before this video comes out, and if it's not, it'll almost be out. So go and check that out. Instead of going to Source Gaming this time, go and check that one out. Because if you like retro characters, you're going to like that channel.
Very good, very good. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Hope you enjoy the series, and go check out the other episodes, and be sure to subscribe to my channel to see more of that, and subscribe to all these guys. They all make awesome stuff. And like I said, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.